Hey everyone, it's Kristie with AG I'm so glad you're here with me again if you're a regular, and for the first time if you've just found my channel. I have had access to a local American Girl store for the past several years, actually ever since I started collecting, and have thoroughly benefited from the privilege of getting to handpick all of our dolls in the store. The Columbus store, Columbus, Ohio American Girl store announced that it was closing in they announced in December of 2023 that in February 2024 they would close for good. If you are interested more on that story, I can put the link in the description, but suffice it to say that means you lose the opportunity to go in and pick out your own dolls. So I had been wanting to share a kind of what do I look for when buying a doll in person. Also, what do I look for when I'm looking at getting a doll from eBay or Mercari or Facebook Marketplace? So this is a little different because it will no longer be what I look for when I go in person, because I'm not going to go to Chicago very often. It's just expensive. We might go, I don't know how often, we'll see, but it's not going to happen with near the regularity that going to Columbus has for the past several years. So for everybody who doesn't live near a store, this video still is for you, because if you get nervous about potential defects, or if you just want the best possible doll that you can get, I will say that you can certainly use a personal shopper. I highly recommend it if you are involved in the AG community and make some even acquaintances. There are so many amazing people who do live by the stores, and they know what a privilege that is, and they will be happy to handpick a doll for you. And they don't even work for American Girl. I've done that for people before. But also, there are people who work for American Girl and can do this for you. I think that's a really good option. It's certainly probably a safer option than the crapshoot that is buying things online from their website. But I still think it's helpful to know what exactly you are looking for. So I'm just going to go kind of point by point at covering what I look for. And some of these things may not matter to you, and that is fine. But if you find yourself like nodding emphatically at a certain point and going, yes, I definitely care about that thing does bother me, then make your own checklist so that if you reach out to a personal shopper or another AG collector who has offered to do some personal shopping for you, then you know what things you want to emphasize. So that's the goal of this as far as buying new from American Girl. I also said that I buy a lot of dolls used, and I want to mention the things that are additional considerations when you're buying used dolls. So please subscribe if you have not already. If this is the first time you've ever seen my channel, then by all means go to the channel and look and see the wide range of American Girl related content and watch a few videos, and then you can decide if you want to subscribe. But comment down below what are some additional tips, or which of these things bother you, which things resonate with you, which things you think I'm being way too picky about. I don't know. Just keep it respectful. I will read all your comments and get back to you. So let's dive in. First thing is, this is in no particular order, just first on my list of what notes I made. Eyelashes. Are they evenly curled? Ideally, I would love for both of them to be curled, but I would rather them both kind of jut out than have one curly and one straight. And I am going to show you a picture of exactly what I'm talking about. So here is a picture of a doll who has clearly one set of eyelashes going more upward, kind of curled upward, and the other one where they stick more straight out. I would rather have this doll, this next version, and these were dolls that I just saw last time I was in the store. I would rather have the latter. In an ideal world, you'd get two beautiful, upward facing sets of lashes. But if I have to pick, I would prefer symmetry. That's me. So when I start using a personal shopper to pick dolls, it's a trust game. There are people that I trust. It'll be fine. I will mention that. Eyebrow placement. I think that this is a way less common problem than the eyelashes. Eyelashes are a real issue, but eyebrow placement, I would still just check it because sometimes they're off center, or one is a little higher up on the forehead than the other, or they're just both kind of a little higher up compared to other dolls in the store, other of the same number. Like the stamp just gets placed a little bit higher. So there might be, 6 Truly Me 115s on a shelf, and one of them has eyebrows stamped a little bit higher up. And if that's something that you don't want, you could mention, try to get one but I would let somebody know, if you're picking somebody to shop for you, which things are your top priorities, which things are medium priority, and which things are like, if you find 2 practically perfect dolls, then look at this to see if it's a tiebreaker. Right. For me, unless the eyebrows are drastically off center, then it's usually negligible. I don't think this is a common, real big problem. Next, if there are painted lashes, are they even? So what I find with the newer Truly Me line is that sometimes maybe the stamp was rotated slightly. And what that ends up doing is, like, maybe the left eye, the upper lashes start really close to the corner, the outer corner, and the right eye, they start a little bit above the outer corner because the stamp was just kind of rotated for one of them. So most of the time, this is not a hugely obvious thing that bothers me, but every once in a while it is. Kind of glaring, and I would say it would be like medium priority for me. Top of the ones that I've mentioned so far, eyelash, having them be evenly curled is still top priority. Next, are the eyes even? This sometimes is a mold issue, not like a fungus, but like a face mold issue, that one eye socket is just lower or larger than the other. And there's no fixing that, right? Even if you are good with customizing, there's no fixing that. Sometimes it is the placement of the eye within the socket. And so like the eye, when it was put in, was turned in a little inward, or a little too far downward, or a little outward. And so you might get 2 eyes that don't seem to be looking in the same direction. And again, some people don't mind. People who are doing doll photography and really enjoy looking at photos of their dolls, this might be a bigger issue. If you are good with customizing and you feel comfortable heating up the doll's head and moving the eye a little bit within the socket, then that's an easy fix. But I don't think that everybody is, so it's worth noting that this is a potential problem. And so I would ask, probably for this question, are the eyes even horizontally? Are the sockets the same size? And do the eyes seem to be looking in the same direction? And those are really 3 different kind of subpoints here. Next one, I'm going to get away from eyes, is lip paint. Holy crap. This is another, like, where eyelashes and probably lip paint are really big ones for me, because some of these dolls, we looked for, I don't know how many times we went in store for a 115. And the lip paint on every single one of them, the stamp, it's like the stamp was just made wrong. It's not even like it was applied wrong. It was made kind of off kilter. So the little indentation on the bottom of the lip that should be in the middle, right, kind of directly under your Cupid's bow, is off on the doll's, like it goes over onto the right side of the doll's face, or to the right side of the doll's mouth. So there's that. There's, just when it's off center, and that's a challenge, especially when it seems to be like a thing that every single doll, like that version of, or every single doll of that number or name is experiencing. And there is a problem that seems to affect some dolls more than others, where the mold, the lips occupy a certain amount of space, but the paint on the lips does not extend to that full, like the full footprint of the mouth. That I'm not saying this well at all. Do you know what I mean? They don't paint the entire lips. It's like if you put lipstick just on the little in middle part of your lips and you didn't extend it to the top of your top lip and the bottom of your bottom lip. So let me just give you a really glaringly obvious example. I was in the store sometime in November of 2023, and I was looking at their Truly Me 123s, and I saw this one. Beautiful, right? Lovely lips. The paint extends like pretty much for the entire space, like the actual vinyl molded part of her lips are, the entire lips are covered by the paint. And then right next to it was this one. I'm just going to put these in a side by side for you. What? So I think that this happens a lot with this particular doll, 123. It's something you got to be careful of with Claudie. Unfortunately, I can't remember with Corinne if it was just her top lip or just her bottom lip, but I feel like it was just one of her lips. And Marie Grace, it seems to be really common. Like they're just afraid to paint the entire, like the fullness of her lips. So just Marie Grace molds in general. I think that's something to be mindful of. Still on the mouth, but moving away from lips, then I would say teeth. Are they centered? No floating teeth, meaning they should, kind of again, just paint what's there. The teeth are actually molded. There are little raised areas that represent their teeth. Is the paint on those? And are they kind of centered? So the gap should be in alignment with the Cupid's bow. It's not real hard, but sometimes that is not the case. So I've seen some drastically, I don't know if we'll find a good picture to put in here, but some drastically off-center teeth. And for some people, that's cute. It's a quirk. They like all of these things. They're looking for these things. But for some of us, if we're paying what we're paying, we have certain preferences, and that's fine, and that's fair. Is the wig cap visible? This is a really hard one to know. Like the quality of the wig is very hard, and that doesn't matter if you go in store. You're not going to take the net off, right? So there's a certain amount of gamble in terms of the wig, no matter what. But if you can see glue or like the cloth part of the wig cap very easily without even taking the doll out, that's kind of concerning. So I would have somebody check that for me. And then I just thought of another one in terms of buying a new doll. And this, I only just thought of it because it doesn't bother me at all. But if you have preferences about does the doll have a head tilt or not, some people love it and they really want it. And if that's you, you could mention that. Hey, if the doll looks like her head's kind of cocked to one side or the other, that would be a doll that I'm interested in. Or some people hate that and they do not want it at all. Hey, unless my doll looks like she could balance a book on top of her head, then keep on looking. I don't want one that has her head cocked to one side or the other. So I don't care. I think they look great with and without the head tilt. So, but if it matters to you, then mention it if you're going to use a personal shopper, whether it's an employee or not. All right. Those are the main things that I can think of, other than like some might have more cheek color than another. Let me think anything else. I think that's it. Yeah, the things that I look at when I am getting a used doll, if I can see pictures, I mean, I'm always seeing pictures. I'm not buying a used doll sight unseen. So, yeah, good eyes versus bad eyes. And if you're not sure what I mean by that, there are so many videos out there probably that explain it. Somebody will explain it in the comments. I'm not going to go into great detail, but there was a period of time when American Girl was using different eyes, and most people did not like them and referred to them as the bad eyes. And they have since stopped producing dolls with them, but there's still dolls in circulation that have them, even some new in the box dolls that you might buy like from resellers or even collectors. I would ask about this because it determines whether or not I'm going to have to buy other eyes and switch them out. And I hate doing eye swaps, and it's also an extra expense. So unless everything else about the doll was amazing, I would be inclined to keep looking. Next would be condition of the hair. So I'm looking at it to see if I can see any haircut, if I can see how, fried something looks. But I also would ask about this because people don't always show you enough pictures. So ask for more pictures. Is there any haircut at all? If you are not comfortable with restoring hair, then, the more questions you can ask about the hair, the better, just to have a good sense. Also, it's worth learning some basic hair restoration skills if you're going to buy used dolls. And then I ask about, are there any stains on the vinyl or the cloth torso? Are there any scratches? Are there any bite marks? And I explain, I'm usually talking about animals, but has anybody bitten the doll? Are there any, I guess I don't usually ask, are there any egregious shine marks, because I am mostly concerned about them if they're on the face, and I will make sure that I have enough pictures of the face to kind of tell that for myself. Is there any makeup residue? I'm zooming in on pictures to see, did somebody's child put shimmery eyeshadow all over the doll, and then it's going to be hard to get off because they put it right on the face. I'm looking for a lack of lip or eyebrow color, especially if it's an older doll. If it's very faded, do you feel comfortable restoring that color? If you do, cool, doesn't matter. If you don't mind it faded, cool, doesn't matter. But if you don't feel comfortable restoring it and it is going to bother you, then pay special attention, because the cheeks are pretty easy to add color, even if you are not comfortable with restoration at all. But lips and eyebrows are a different story. So I look at those things. I explicitly ask about mold, mildew or musty smell, pet smells, and smoke odors. And holy crap, the deal breaker of all of those, I know people are like, mold, throw the doll out. I would even, for the right doll at the right price, consider like buying a doll that's kind of moldy. Smoky, forget it. It happened to me once. I never, ever, ever want to deal with a smoky doll again. So that's, I think, my comprehensive list. Yeah, I'll just kind of put them up bullet points here just so you can see them again. But please let me know. I don't know, share your horror stories of, I didn't ask about this and learned the hard way. What are some additional things that you would recommend? Any tips for people who use for people who use personal shoppers? Just, yeah, liven up the discussion in the comments. I'll be reading your comments and answering, and I will be back in a week with another video. But in the meantime, I'm going to put a playlist on the left and a video hand selected for you on the right. So feel free to binge watch, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.